Hello everybody, welcome back to the Nocturnal Gaming Network. My name is Xeriua, and today we are playing Spaceflight Simulator. So, due to some recent comments asking questions about Orbital Rendezvous and such, I've decided to do a little mini-series on Orbital Rendezvousing specifically. So, let's resume the game. What I've done is I've put together a couple cases here. We have these little modules floating in space, and we have one of them in a low, 50-kilometer orbit. We're going to go through and do some advanced docking with that one. We have a slightly elliptical orbit here on this module. We have a higher orbit of 150 kilometers by 150 kilometers, and we're just going to do a normal orbit, normal rendezvous with that. And then I have an extreme elliptical orbit here, where we're going from 1,500 kilometers down to 30. So we're going to go through and do that, because elliptical orbits are hard. And I mean, Orbital Rendezvous is probably one of the harder things you're going to do in this game anyway, but, it's quite a bit easier if everything's all nice and circular and whatnot. So we're going to get right into it today with just basically a nice, easy orbital rendezvous here. So we're going to build new, and we're just going to go through and build the same little rocket that I just showed you guys. And we're going to use 3 of these 20-ton fuel tanks, 2 on boosters, and just 1 with a broadsword to actually go and circularize ourselves and do all the orbital maneuvering and such. And then we can go back to basic here. And we need a couple separators, and we need some RCS thrusters, help ourselves maneuver, and then we need some nose cones. And we're going to put a separator here, and then a nose cone on top of the separator, and there we are. So let's launch this up. Now, we're going to turn both of our booster engines on. Ooh, and I should get a single thumbnail here. There we are. Nice, beautiful rocket that we have. We can throttle all the way up. Now, today, we are just going to make rendezvous with this this module at 150 kilometers. So we'll set it as our target. We're just going to do a nice, easy method. So, nothing to worry about. We don't care where it is. We're just going to get going. We're going to launch. So let's launch. Make sure our modules, our boosters are both working, which they are. And we'll do a nice gravity turn here. Our goal is to circularize ourselves around Earth. We don't really care too much about our orbital, pattern or whatnot. We just want a nice circular orbit to start with. So we're going to do that. And there we go. We've actually hit orbit, so now we'll just turn right over. Something like this. There we go. We can stage. I'm actually going to turn these on right now. That way I can flip this, separate that, and then flip back. Alright. Hello? Hello? Thank you. Alright, and we're just going to turn our thrust down while we make our way into space here. We can turn our RCS thrusters off. I only wanted them to help rotate the ship to separate that fairing. Alright, now that we are basically in space, let's turn, basically we want to be radial in, so we can start pushing our apoaps around the planet without gaining too much height. And we're just going to, keep burning like this until we circularize. Shouldn't be that big of a deal. We're probably going to need to slow our thrust down a little bit here, because if we don't, then our apoapsis is going to go way around the planet. We don't want that. There we go. We have just about hit a nice stable orbit. Okay. And just a little tiny bit more. There we are. So we're in orbit around Earth. Now, we're going to take a second here, and we're going to look at how this is going to work here. So, we have this thing, which is the closest approach, which tells us the two modules will be closest together when one of them's right here, and the other one is right here. And it doesn't specify necessarily when that's going to be. That's not really useful to us right this second, but it will be. Basically, the way we're doing this, we're doing a nice, easy method of orbital rendezvous. So we're going to either, well, in this case, where the module we're piloting is behind the other module, what we're going to do is we're going to raise the apoapsis of our current module to just lower than the target module. And basically, because of the properties of circles, our speeds are going to be fairly close together, but since the diameter of the circle isn't the same, the one that's on the inside is actually going to go around the circle faster. Now, what that does for us is when we get ourselves into a stable orbit that's slightly lower relative to the planet, we're actually going to catch up on this target module. And the inverse would happen if we get a stable orbit outside of the 150 kilometers. We would actually be going a little bit, well, it would be a little bit slower for us to go around the planet than it would for this target module, so therefore it would gain on us. Alright, so like I said, since we are behind the target module, we are going to turn prograde, which we basically are. We're going to burn and raise our apoapsis. Now, the target module is at 150 kilometers, so we are going to basically raise our apoapsis up to 145 kilometers. So something like 144.9. That's close enough. It doesn't have to be perfect. All that really matters is we are interior to the target module's apoapsis. Because, you know, as long as we stay interior, we'll catch up. Obviously, the further interior you are, the more you will catch up with each time around. So, we can demonstrate this. Watch where we are related to where the target module is. See how we have approximately a quarter of the planet's circumference between us. When we go around this little teeny minimal periapse, we're going to catch up quite a bit. We're now maybe an eighth of the distance around the planet away. And if we go around again with the really low periapse, I think we're actually going to pass the target module. Yeah, see how we passed the target module? So basically, that's... I'm going to slow ourselves down here now. That's how we're gaining. That's what our entire goal is here. It's to gain on, or let the other module gain on us. Now, let's look at the closest approach again. See how it connects to the target module's path and our path. The way this works is it's telling us that at the closest point together, the target module is going to be right here, okay, on its path, and we're going to be way over here, right here, on our path. So, using that information, with a little bit of practice, we can use our RCS and main thrusters to actually manipulate where this is around the planet. Alright? So what we're going to do is we're going to go around probably 4 or 5 more times here. Maybe not quite that many. There's 1, 2, 3. So yeah, 4 times here I think I should probably stop. So something like the... No, we can go around 1 more. We can do the 5, and that'll get us fairly close. There it is. So we're fairly close to our target. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to turn prograde here, and we are going to raise our periaps. Notice how the closest approach line is changing. If we keep raising that, be careful not to push your apoapsis too far. If we keep raising, that's going to change where the closest approach is, right? See how that's going around, and it's actually getting a lot closer. Like currently our closest approach is right here, all right, at 7.3 kilometers. So basically, with this, what we should be able to do is, I want to turn my RCS thrusters on first, but we can go around, and at this point, 1 more time around should get us pretty close to an intercept with this. So at our periaps, we're going to stop for a second, and we're going to use our RCS thrusters. In this case, we're going to use the down on the RCS thruster and the left on the RCS thruster. And with those two, we should be able to take and bring this closest approach even closer together by raising our apoaps ever so slightly with the RCS thruster. There it is. Now it's actually a little harder to get this stuff together than it would seem, but doing that, we're now approximately 2,000 meters away, 2 kilometers, 1,000. All right, where'd it go? Where'd it go? It's down here now. All right, so I know it's flashing back and forth. There we go. So right here, the closest approach, we are approximately 1,100 meters away from one another, and we will be ever so slightly behind the other module. That's what that's saying. Now, our paths are going to cross one another here because our apoaps... Oh, actually, no. No, I don't know how I managed this, but our apoaps is actually exactly the same as the other apoaps. So we won't ever really cross, but we will reach apoaps at the same time as the other modules. So what we're going to do is we're going to fast forward time a little bit, and we are waiting until we're very close to the module, and then we are going to burn prograde to raise our periaps. And then from there, we can go about actually maneuvering in to dock with this thing. Now, at this point, it also might be a good idea to follow your module. So, here we go. We're very close to our closest approach marker. In fact, it's right there. So we are ever so slightly behind this thing, and we're coming together, and it should be right there. So this is the closest approach that we have. Now, the reason for this is the other module is actually going to be slightly faster than us, but then at the same time, we are going to be slightly interior to it, so we should be probably gaining on it overall. We're probably losing distance right now because I think it's faster than us, but when we go around again, we're actually going to be in front of it. And where's our closest approach? It's still right here, I think, until we pass our apoaps. Anyway, so let's go to the map and let's zoom out. We may be able to see it. Yes, it is right on the left of the screen, top left, and it's moving away from us right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to point roughly in the right direction to the other module, and then we're going to burn with our thruster, our main thruster. And we can see it just twinkling right now. It's between the 3 brackets and the map button. It's almost ready to, it's almost ready to like cross over our, well, there it is. It's right below our periapse marker. So we're just going to burn a little bit more with the main thruster. And now it's still going to the right. So what we need to do is we need to turn radial in here. We need to find it again. There it is. And we're going to burn up and then radial in. Okay, and now it's basically heading down straight towards us. So we can turn downwards and we can get ready to burn downwards. Let's go to like 50% thrust so we don't overshoot it. And we can burn probably right about now, and that's going to slow it down. See how that's slowing it down? There it is. So it's going downward and also slightly to the left relative to us. So we need to go downward a little more. We can use our RCS thrusters here. Still a little bit more downward. Let's actually rotate ourselves into the correct orientation. Slightly more downward, and we can just let it keep going left relative to us because we need it to get closer to us. Alright, and now we probably want to go left with our RCS thrusters to cancel out the sideways momentum. So now it's basically just going downward relative to us. Upward relative to us. And we can wait here. You can, accelerate time if you don't want to wait. Alright, there we are. We can start hitting up on the RCS thrusters, and now it's basically just moving ever so slightly left. Little puff of downward thrust, and that should line us up again. There we go. We can actually just hit right on the thrust, and that will help us to line up. Bam! So there we are. We have docked with this random module, this random teeny tiny module out in space. We did go around the planet a couple times, but we should have explained, how this is going, how it's supposed to work. And if you've noticed where we bumped into one another, there was a slight change to our periapse and our apoapse, but that's okay. We can fix that with a little teeny puff of smoke here. Ah, so close. I think we're going to need to be at... Yeah, we're going to need to be at apoapse or something here to actually make it work. Oh, no, I got it. We now have a nice, perfect 150-kilometer orbit. So that's going to be it for today. I hope this little extra, more in-depth orbital rendezvous session can help people out. And, next time we're going to continue. We're going to do some wonderful orbital rendezvous training on the slightly elliptical orbit module here. I think it's this one, right? Yeah, 100 by 75 kilometers. So we're gonna work on this one next time. Thank you all so much for watching. My name's Xeriua, and this is the Nocturnal Gaming Network, bringing you Spaceflight Simulator. Have yourselves a wonderful night, everybody.